Hello there, this is Niver, and this is Niverland. Today's episode, season 2 of season 7, brought together a couple folks inside the industry, one inside the industry, one outside the industry. I was looking for guest perspectives on things. We talked about how habits have changed and how prices have gone up, how restaurant visits have gone down. And we talk about neighborhoods that are still thriving and downtowns that are not. But first and foremost, I think it's about the restaurant's survival and how that's perhaps made us lose a little bit of this depth of service that really is the essence of our job, us being humble providers for folks who come in our restaurants. And yes, we've had to exert operationally things onto guests that have changed just the whole dynamic of what it is to dine out now, and inflation and all of these things that are challenging to us. But still, through all of this, ultimately a guest experience is what's going to make your restaurant thrive. So we talk about how guests are feeling. I gave my restaurant perspective on a couple of things, and all I got to say is, fam, I need you to go back out. I need you to get back into restaurants just the way you were before the pandemic. And I know that things have changed, and that's maybe a wish, but think about those places that mean something to you and go to them. So today, Niverland, Roy's son, Jacob Schumack, and these two dudes know a lot about the industry from a couple of different angles, and that's what made this show so good. Appreciate you all. Thanks for your support in Niverland. Matthew Gundrum, Gleam Tower Media as well. See you soon. Enjoy the episode. I didn't do any digging on you because, well, initially I was thinking it would be best. Matt, are you ready for me? I think initially I thought it was going to be best to have people I absolutely didn't know. Mm-hmm. And I think I was trying to, take some real shit from people. And I think I wanted to kind of have it be, somebody that wasn't influenced by knowing me and trying to be nice. So I don't want you to be nice today. Like if you feel like there's something you want to tear on it.
Is this a roast?
No. If it is a roast, it would be a roast of me. That's what I'm saying. It's like a roast of what's going on in the industry, or it doesn't even have to be a roast. And I think I've kind of calmed my vision down a little bit. I think part of it was I wanted to help. Say I was busting Yelp's balls, about how you get a review on Yelp, and that's a lot of people read those things. And it can really affect what's going on. And I just wanted to maybe give the perspective back to a Yelper, like, hey, have me to your office. I'd like to see I want to come to your office. I want to see
what you do.
Maybe what your service level is, or what expectation I might find that you're not, exceeding or meeting or whatever at your job. And I would be happy. It doesn't matter if I don't know what you do. I'd be happy to tell you what I think about it. Mm-hmm. And immediately. And then in that moment, I might decide never to come back.
Sure. Or to utilize that service or that company or
whatever. To be completely overwhelmed and thankful. Like, fuck, you guys are good.
Sure.
So today, I wanted to I still want to try to take things from you as you are guests, the guest perspective, in a joint, in any joint, a place that you've been recently, or, how you've seen things change. And I kind of want to dig deeper because I think the guest needs to understand the stress that restaurants are going through, sure. But the restaurants can't think so about themselves now that we're through COVID. They can't think so much about themselves. We needed to reorganize. We need to make our businesses better. But now I think in that we kind of retreated from making it about the guest because we've been trying to fucking survive. Mm. So I want to explore a little bit of that too, and how the guest is feeling. Because I know, I've done a lot to protect my business.
Sure.
And it affects the guest primarily. Okay. So there's some shit. Just to jump in. and just to make sure that we're, kind of understanding my mission. And you mentioned my notes, and my notes are a mess because there's just so much here that I want to dig into.
Cool.
Let me introduce you. Let me introduce me. I'm Niver. This is Niverland. It's brought to you by Mucci's Frozen Foods, St. Inette, Mucci's Italian, Gleam Tower Media, Matt Gundrum. And today we have two wonderful people here to talk about things with Jacob Schumack. How you doing, Jacob?
I'm doing very well, sir.
And Roy Sun. Hi.
Hello.
You guys sound great. Roy, you're a professional freelance photographer.
That is correct.
And do you get to travel a lot? I mean, this is like, it sounds like, hey, I know you get to travel. Do you get to travel with your job?
I was traveling a lot more pre-COVID.
Yeah.
Obviously,
I think we all were.
Took a little bit of a break, and then it started to pick back up just a little bit. But primarily, yes. Like I am willing to travel.
Yeah.
For work, and it does open up a lot of other opportunities, obviously, and figuratively. Like just, you get to get out of here and see other spots and really bring some. Some cases you're bringing that back here.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
In some cases,
yes. So to answer your question, yes, I do get to travel when I'm able to, and if the opportunity does arise, then I usually take it.
Yeah. All right. Well, we may bring that. We'd like to bring that perspective into some of the things at play here on my agenda.
For sure.
Jacob, you're in the industry,
Yes.
and how would you describe what you do? Are you a chef?
Yeah.
Okay. But it sounds like there's more there.
Sure. Even in my current job, it's kind of jack of all trades, master of none. For the restaurant that I'm at currently, I'm the chef, general manager, pastry chef, and the only title that I've given myself, because it just amuses me, is I'm the commissary wrangler, because that accurately describes trying to run a commissary kitchen.
Sure. In the face of what's happened to the industry, more of us are generalists because we're having to do more things. I have never been really, really, really good at any part of my job. I'm good at so many things inside my job, and like you say, jack of all trades, like making the light work for 4 hours during service. Like I can do that shit blindfolded. Like it's just weird what you end up learning. But now we're asked to do more and more in our jobs because there's less of us.
And less specialized people available.
Right? People that have moved on, or, people are looking into the industry. Like training's on my list today. Because guess what? When there's a labor shortage, for the first time in my career, put somebody on the floor without being properly trained, or a couple people on the floor without being properly trained, because I needed bodies.
Sure.
It was a really hard position to be in. I think we're finding that in restaurants. Okay. Gents, overall, big picture, since COVID, dining out since COVID, are you feeling changes? And if there's any, noticeable, service-wise, or just kind of how things are going out there, just kind of pipe in about it. Let me know what you're doing in restaurants. How does it feel different from before?
Oh, that's loaded.
Is it?
It is, I think.
Unpack it for us, Jacob.
Oh, boy. I would say there's the aspect of overall, I think service has suffered. Service as in being in service, hospitality, and the immediate feel once you walk through a door of a restaurant. And we can even expand this out to any customer-facing business. Like speaking from inside the industry for a moment, I understand that some of that is because of fatigue. The myriad changes that the restaurant industry and customer service industry have faced in the past 3 years has been It's been a multi-headed hydra. And so I understand it on a certain level, like why that has suffered. And also because lots of veterans have left the industry. I know so many people, even just restaurant industry, that after March of 2020 have not set foot in a restaurant as anything other than a customer. And a lot of those folks were really, really talented people, front of house, back of house, the switch hitters that could do both. And so then there's also, like in that aspect that you're talking about, like just needing bodies. And when you're stretched thin, you don't have the time to do all that, what you would consider proper training or training to your satisfaction to get that level of service back.
Details.
Yes.
Details get lost because you're just trying to get water out of the boat.
Yeah. So when I've experienced a lot more places that don't have that extra little something as far as the service side, the food may be fantastic and that might, keep me coming back, just the food.
Yeah.
But I'm not going there for the experience. And there are some places that have become much more like takeout places for me than I want to sit there. But then there are the places that like really are knocking it out of the park, and that keeps me going back to those places and in a greater frequency.
Sure. Do you have less of those places?
Yes.
Freud, are you a regular anywhere?
I do have some spots.
Okay. And are you as regular at your regular spots as you were?
As I was?
Yeah.
No.
Is it decreased in half?
I think that's probably accurate about there. And I think part of it is, it's just the change, it's a whole change, right? Like it's not just, I'm not going to some of these places less. I'm just eating out less. I'm trying to cook more, or I'm incorporating more takeout, or, there's like group dinners, or, just like other ways to sort of fill that hole. But the reliance and the just like the how often I went out to eat, that has suffered a little bit. And I think that there's a few different factors that have kind of contributed to that. And I don't think it was entirely to do with COVID. I think it was there was a little bit of momentum going that way, and then COVID kind of shook everything up, made us sort of re-examine everything and kind of recalculate how we wanted to, spend our time, spend our money. And then, kind of coming out of that, I was a lot more selective with where I went, places that I really wanted to support and make sure that it was like there were places that, not that like I didn't think they needed my support, but it was just like other places that are like, oh man, like I really don't want to see these guys. Like,
if you don't go,
yeah,
they're not going to be there. And if they're not there, that's something that's lost. Yeah. Really, truly.
Yeah.
How did they gain that? How did that place gain that level of trust from you?
Service
usually.
Fuck.
I mean, service is a big part to do with it. Like my fuss spot, I've been going since I was 12 years old.
Where?
I go to Fuss 79 on Nicollet. That's my spot. I gave some of the ladies like a hard time a couple years ago. I'm like, lady, like I've been coming here since I was 12. I've seen some kids grow up here. Like you can, like I know who you are, and I know you know who I am. Like, we can pretend to know each other now. And so ever since then, huge smile on her face. Like super excited. Asked me about my parents. Asked me about my sister.
Yeah.
And it's just like, yes.
The personal touch.
I've been working on this for years, and that's all I wanted. I just wanted to be seen. And that so like that's just like one example, but kind of on the extreme side where like I have this very personal sort of touch with it. When all the stuff on Nicollet was happening during the George Floyd the protests and stuff, like, you know, me and a couple friends, like, it wasn't like a joking matter, but we were just like, hey, like, we might have to go get some bats and hang out at Fuss 79 parking lot so nobody fucks
Our restaurant,
This
dude.
institution.
Yeah, you're
Yeah.
gonna defend it.
And Pimento's across the street.
Yeah,
I was like,
yeah.
oh wait,
Oh,
those
it's-
guys got it.
There's a
locked the
little.
block down.
I
Oh,
completely
they
agree.
totally held it down.
They held it down.
There's
fuck?
a little bit of a Home Alone, Kevin McAllister. This is my house. I must defend it.
Oh yeah.
That's my neighborhood.
Oh, is that so?
So-
You live in Whittier?
Yeah.
Nice, nice.
So yes.
that- are you,
So it was like checking in with Tammy Wong over at Rainbow.
Yeah,
Making
yeah.
sure that everything was okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I walk and eat on Eat Street at least once a week. So yeah, if anything were to happen to these places that are institutions of my neighborhood,
How's Eat Street doing? We know we just lost Eat Street Social, right?
Yeah, we
Yeah.
did. We did.
And would you call that a place that you think of as almost classic to the time, to an
that
era?
was for me. That was a later night eat and bar place, or an infrequent but delicious brunch spot.
Uptown.
Oh,
It's tough.
I really wish I could have stayed, and I really wanted to kind of remain in the fabric there.
yeah.
You know, you could see this is fleeting, you know, from certain spots in the city, and who knows when those are going to come back. So we've already talked about how we felt the service is suffering and that personal habits have changed. Roy gave his personal account. You know, people are dining out less, and when they go, they're picking very specifically where they go. You know, we have to keep that type of engagement with our guests, and if they're new guests, from my perspective now, guest building has to be, you know, your ritual in a way. That because there's so many people that aren't out as much. The ones that are there are just so much more valuable, and you really, really have to intently serve.
It's also looking at it from both sides. That is such a organic way of getting more customers. If you are treated well someplace, or I'll just speak for myself. When I'm treated well someplace, I'll tell other people about it. It's the selfish thing for me because I want that restaurant to still be there, but it's also something wonderful that I'd love to share.
Yeah.
I don't get, and I think maybe that this type of idea is more dormant or dead. You save that secret spot for yourself because you don't want it to blow up so you can't get in. Well, also this market isn't big enough that a place can sustain itself being the little secret hidden spot. You gotta, if it's good, if it's great, you gotta shout it out. And to build on what you're saying, there is something so flattering when you go into a place that you've been going for a bit and they recognize you. They say, welcome back. And it's not just performative. You get the genuineness of it. They're happy to see you, hopefully because, pardon my French, you're not an asshole as well. So they're happy to see you. That makes such a difference in service. If you are greeted with a smile, you're far more likely to respond with a smile. You're sitting down with a smile. You get your first beverage. You get an appetizer. You get some bread, whatever. It just sets the mood, and it makes it that personal experience. And it's difficult in repetition, I can say, from the behind the counter, in the industry side of it. But in the grand scheme of things, it's a few extra moments. It's paying attention for 5, 10, 30 seconds when someone walks through the door.
How you say
And,
things.
oh my gosh.
When you say things.
Yeah.
I was you're talking, and I'm just like, God, all the things that go into service that somebody may not understand. But I'm thinking again, trying to keep it on the guest side. Have you seen a difference in how guests are in restaurants? I mean, like if you ask me, I might be able to note a couple things, but from a guest perspective, do you see other guests acting, say, differently or in ways that you wouldn't have expected, or in a worse way or in a better way than before? Or any changes?
It's more volatile. I'm seeing both more grace and more. It's not even entitlement. It's
like I'm doing you a favor, sort of.
It's yes, and it's and it's something that, and this is a thing overall that bothers me. It's a lack of manners. I'm going to, and I brought this up with your producer at a previous time, but I think this is a wonderful time to bring up the seminal classic movie Roadhouse.
Yeah.
Yep.
Let's talk about
it. The line,
sways.
Be nice. And, and there's the whole back and forth, like, what if someone gets in my face, all that. And he just says, be nice. And a long pause until it's no longer time to be nice. So, like playing both sides of this guest and service equation, people in the service industry can get so far, but only so far by being nice. And, like my role as a manager, sometimes I'm the one that has to not be nice anymore because you have to stop something bad from happening or stop the bad from all that is already happening. Yeah. The guest side of it, even, like sitting in a dining room and seeing other people that are acting out in a, what I can only describe as childish way. First and foremost, I'll just try to be especially nice to my server, especially nice if I interact with anyone in the kitchen, make eye contact, the silent thank you across the pass from the dining room. Yeah. But there is also a certain point where I get up, I fold my napkin, put it on my chair, and I walk over and I say, stop it. Or get out.
You've done that?
Yes. Because it's also this. I know all the people that are working there, they don't have the same freedom that I do. I'm just another guy sitting at a table. When I walk over, I'm a complete unknown. This other person who's acting like a jackass, they have nothing on me. They can't threaten me with, I want to see your manager. I'm my own person. I am my own manager in that moment. So I will take that opportunity, that freedom that I have in that moment to say, like, stop it. Just stop.
I've only had that happen to me once.
Why were you acting so poorly?
I wasn't. I was actually dining in my own restaurant. And
what?
Yeah, it was early on in the Moochie's day. I was with my family, my 2 kids and my wife, right? And we were eating, and I saw that this woman was upset. She's like kind of like talking at her husband, move, how your head moves, like,
yeah,
and this and this and this. I'm like,
the jutting.
Fuck, is that about us? And I'm trying to eat, my meatball.
Yeah.
And we just didn't get it right for that person. We didn't. We didn't. We probably made a couple of mistakes on the table. However, this person kept kind of coming after the server. I meant us. Like, see how I protect the bacon?
Sure.
And she wouldn't let it go. And other people are kind of looking, and I'm surveying from the table in my restaurant, and I decided that this person's attitude was disruptive enough to other people.
The whole restaurant.
That I walked over and I said, hey there, I'm the owner. I'm in dining with my family. I didn't need to know the whole situation. I said to her, I don't need to know the whole situation. I know that we've not been able to serve you to your expectation at any point during your visit. Unfortunately, I don't believe there's a way for us to talk you out of being angry. So I've taken care of your bill and you're free to go now. And it was really hard.
Sure.
Because that person was at I didn't know, right? But that person was at a wedding 4 months later with a friend of mine, still bad-mouthing us.
Sure.
Yikes.
And, and it's only happened, again, like it's only happened once in my life, but, like there are people that don't let things go. And at the table, if I make a mistake, I'm going to own up to it. That was completely my fault. But nobody dies here. Why are you mad?
Something I tell people that I work with
that was
a lot.
That was inside. Sorry, that was restaurant side.
Yeah.
Sorry,
But it's, the thing of it is, it's just sandwiches. It's just eggs. It's just coffee. It's just a drink. That's it.
But the guest is expecting
wonderful.
Maybe something they're used to and they're not getting it anymore.
But then use your words.
Well, but if the service is going away and that's what the guest has come to expect, and then it's not there, and then we're dicks about it, if we're slow and we can't actually provide appropriate service, I don't know, but I still don't want people to get mad about it. But damn, that's kind of where we're at.
Sure, and then the voting is via where you spend your dollars.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So do you decide where to go based on politics?
No.
Yes, sort of. Like from like a broader sense. Like I'm not gonna go to Florida. I don't care how nice the beaches are. I'm just not gonna go to Florida.
Sure.
So like in that sense, it has some impact into my decision making. Like locally, not really, but there are places that I just don't really consider, and it's mostly because not my scene, not my crowd, not my, just
Yeah.
I don't belong there.
It fits you or it doesn't fit. Or
Yeah.
it's like a special occasion and I'll go to that club.
Exactly.
I would divorce it from the word politics, however.
Sure.
For me, it's more about ethics and morality, which I think is more fundamental and is not about being divisive. It's about holding your own standards.
That's fair.
But politics are in it now.
Oh, politics are in it,
Yeah.
but I don't want that.
No.
It's not that I won't discuss politics, but I'm not going to try to discuss politics with someone that I know I'm not going to get through to, and or someone that I know that's not going to get through to me. There are certain things, like.
But there's artists you love and you didn't like their ethics or moral.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's as well. That's just we live in very divisive times, and I think in some ways giving too much airtime to that in what we're doing right now, and even life, that only creates more division.
Yeah.
Because then it's this feedback loop.
Yeah.
If
So
you
to
read
me-
crime reports all the time, you're only going to see crime.
Yeah.
If you read only happy stories, you're probably only going to see that. Maybe a balance is better.
Yeah. I really think restaurants are the place that should be devoid of that. This is restaurants kind of started, in port cities where weary travelers would come in and be taken care of. And then, in a port city, you're going to see all kinds. And it was just kind of a place of, respite where you could just kind of, anyone could go in and hang out. And I think that restaurants need to save themselves by becoming a place where everybody actually feels welcome, without you having to put a sign up. But if you put a sign up that everybody's welcome, I think there's a lot of people that would not go there.
Yeah.
There's that.
Ironic.
And then there's also, is it actually true?
Well, and that's why I've never put that sign
Also
up.
true.
I've never put that
Also
sign up
true.
in my
Yeah.
restaurants, because everybody's fucking welcome. You come. I'm going to serve you. I'm going to take care of you. It doesn't matter who you are. My job is to take care of you.
Yes.
Right?
To be
You also bring your
egalitarian
day
about
in,
it.
and I see what your day was like and your faces, and you walk in and you want me to take care of you. I know you do. You're here. You got to let me. All right?
Yeah, it is a balanced relationship.
I'm going to try to break you down here, right? You know, even if I make a mistake, I'm going to turn, I have the power of the comp, but I can make it, I can make it work, you know, like it's a restaurant, you know? I want your kid to be fed well. I want you to be fed well. I want you to get laid because of this date. I want your divorce to be celebrated. I want, you know, whatever it is, I want that for you. I don't give a shit. I just want that for you. It's really hard for everybody to have that sentiment in dining. But, you know, I think of restaurants, that's where I think the divisiveness can go away. And I think that's where we need to literally all come to the table.
Yeah.
So you're a repeat guest somewhere, you think mostly because of service, and you go there because of service. Do you not go to somewhere regular because of service now?
Yes.
Mm-hmm. So no matter what your loyalties were, you'll see the service go, and if you feel like it's just, you know, breaks your heart or whatever, you probably won't go back.
Yes, and further, because I even reached out and tried to have a conversation about a bad experience that was out of character, and the manager that I was speaking with was not the manager of before, so, you know, not the same person, you know, maybe not the same expectations, but I got some really rude feedback for even trying to privately have a conversation, and it was like, nope, done.
Yeah.
No restaurant is a make or break my life place, but I would, again, you know, the voting with my dollars, I will vote, perennially for the places that are doing it.
Stick with it.
They're really doing it, and didn't utilize the past 3 years to excuse compromises. Maybe things had to change, or even for a while, but they talked about it. They weren't just like hoping you didn't notice that things were a little different for a while, or like, you know, we're takeout only, and, you know, that's just what we're doing. Well, yes, I supported some places that were takeout only because I was looking forward to the day when I got to walk through the door again and sit down and be there. And that was how I could, in my own small way, assure or help that possibility.
Yeah.
It's crazy how much that tone has changed too, with like when we weren't actually able to dine in, and everyone was just like, man, I would give anything just to be able to, you know, have that, like, whatever hot, steaming hot, like whatever, come and have it right away, versus like having it sit in the car for 15 minutes and then I have to reheat it or whatever. Like, so like, I remember thinking that and being so excited when places were opened up. And now, you know, it's a combination of, yes, like, you know, just restaurants figuring it out and trying to figure out like what they can do better, but then also like people, I think, just kind of forgot how to act in public, how to socialize, how to be nice, how to, you know, like, just a lot of things have changed. And I think the where we're at now, it just sounds so different from like when we didn't have what we had, and all we wanted to do was just, like you said, like walk in the door. And
you feel like you have more options. Like, we have way more options. I can get takeout from here. I can do this. I learned how to make sourdough. Not me. I'm just, as an example, over COVID, you know, and DIY, you know, we were all forced to cook a little differently, eat a little differently. And we've had 3 years of that. So our habits has changed so dramatically. You said that you cook more at home. Intentionally for health, intentionally for economics, intentionally.
All of the above. All of the above. Are
you a good cook?
I usually respond to that question by saying I just like to eat. So I typically...
Do you like what you make?
Yes. It gets old. It gets old.
1,000.
Yeah. it gets old, and there were days like I had
There's
COVID.
dishes, dude. You have to do dishes now.
It's so bad, dude. Like 2 months ago, I had COVID, and thankfully I had some friends come by and drop some food off and whatever. But like those like in between days when like I would make just like a big batch of like kimchi stew, and I'd have it for 4 days in a row, and I'm like, I can't take this anymore. Like I think I smell, so like I got really sick of my cooking. As part of this, and I tried to incorporate and learn new dishes, and just try and add to the menu, right? Like, oh yeah, this is staying on the menu, my menu.
Yeah.
This is a Roy classic.
Certain menu that you have. That's an interesting way of looking at it. Like when we cook for ourselves at home, there are the things that we go back to.
It's a menu,
There is a rough idea of a menu because you have certain staples in the pantry, certain things you've got in deep freeze that you can, rely on. Yeah, you might venture out and make something new. But I'm going to guess spaghetti and meatballs, if that's something that you enjoy, you have the makings for it at any time.
Yes. Well, and like this happens often where if I like something a lot, and I'm trying to find a good example, like karage or just something, right? Where I'm like, I really need to bring this in house for economic reasons. Like I can't afford to keep eating this out, and so I will try and bring it in house, and usually get discouraged. And this is months long, maybe years long process of me on this quest to try and figure out how to make the perfect whatever. And, I keep going back to the place that, inspired the journey, and it'll always get love, but like, sometimes I'm like, okay, I think I can make a dinette burger. Like,
you do, huh? Ooh,
no.
Shots fired.
Never.
So you're talking about not going to restaurants right now. And you're also talking about how much you love to cook. And you're also talking about, you trying to perfect a certain thing, which I'm not sure we would have had the time or whatever to do this during, unless COVID happened.
No.
So that I've proposed numerous times that time off put people in a position to do it themselves, to see some of the financial benefits of it, to practice it and find comfort at home with cooking. And thereby we find less guests in our restaurants. And it's just the way that habits are, but it's also skills that are built. You could see people building skills. And these skills, like what I can entertain in my beautiful home that I was able to renovate working from home, know? Did either of you dine in a downtown Minneapolis or downtown St. Paul restaurant in the last 30 days?
Yes.
Downtown.
And here's my bouginess speaking, if we include PS Steak just on the south side of Loring Park as downtown
Let's
zone.
include PS Steak. How about you?
Yes, sort of. North Loop? No, that's not downtown.
That's
not
technically-
downtown. That's too
Have
far.
you eaten in the North Loop in the last month?
Yes.
Yeah, I think everybody has.
And I can't say the name because I would butcher it, but it's the gentleman who you had on your pod.
Dandy Del Prado? Sandra?
No, I haven't been there in a couple months, but Fusion.
Oh, Pedro.
Yes.
Guacaya.
Yes. I would have butchered that.
Guacaya.
I could see it in my head. I was like, nope, no confidence.
How many times have you eaten in South Minneapolis in the last 2 months?
I don't know the number.
Maybe.
Is it over 10?
Yes.
No.
5? Where do you live in?
I live right by PS Steak, actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you live there.
Yeah.
Okay, so how about you? Where do you normally eat the most? Not downtown, obviously.
Each Street is. I go to Each Street pretty often.
Neighborhoods,
Northeast. I was doing a lot of North Loop in early part of the year. I had some work kind of like in the area, and so was visiting there often.
See, when you work in a spot, after work, you go out near that spot where you work?
I'm not going far. Ideally, it comes to
Generally
me, but I will go to it sometimes.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Guys, I just these notes that I have are, like I told you, scattered, and there's just so many factors that we're dealing with.
Yeah.
Downtown, and I love that people found work from home. I mean, I can't imagine what that would be like, because I can't. But I need them. I need folks in their offices.
It's tough because, like, how do you take that away once you give it?
You don't.
Right?
So-
like,
Well,
it's just
some
another factor.
companies have tried to, and that's led to an exodus of their workforce. It's
yeah.
led to revolt. It's led to, like, we won't do that, or like negotiating it. We will
Yeah.
hybrid. We'll be there.
2 days a week, 3 days
Yeah.
a week.
Have you been
something.
in the suburbs in the last 30 days?
Yes.
I have actually. Yeah.
Don't eat in the suburbs. I'm joking. I just,
No, I know what you're saying,
It
though.
happens. It happens that it happens.
Yeah.
These are just all things that are, I think from a, again, restaurant perspective, not guest, or even a guest perspective, people are finding either things closer to home or more convenient, or next to the store that they shop at, somewhere else, but certainly not downtown.
It's
Have you been to
suffered
a
bit.
concert lately?
No. Not really recently.
No.
How about some other entertainment after 10 p.m.
Yes.
Yes.
in downtown?
No.
Okay.
No.
No.
Away from downtown.
Away from downtown. Ironically, uptown, but yeah.
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 Some shit happening. Some shit happening. All right. You see what I'm getting at?
Yeah.
It's just really hard to find, like a center. I think the North Loop as a neighborhood is the most insulated, economically, kind of just, with the variety. Like North Loop, I think, is having a pretty decent go of it amidst all of this, I think. And parts of Northeast, I think, have thrived. All Saints and Sidebar, it's sort of, there's a decent amount of energy over there. I think that's good.
Mm-hmm.
I've noticed that in Edina, like Mr. Paul's Supper Club's got 300 advanced resis, bro.
Oh, and the 2 times that I've been there, which were at different times of the night, and it was like walking into a rager of a party.
Yeah.
It was like, it's 5:30. You guys are partying like it's 10 o'clock. And then when I was there at
Imagine the work from
10
home
o'clock,
money in Edina.
wow. But that's similarly in North Loop. There's a comfortable amount of money in the neighborhood that there's expendable income.
Oh, hell yeah.
And that
and you don't have
experience-
to drive downtown.
No, exactly. Well, and that
Like,
experience,
what's the
like you're
lure?
saying, was purely by design, right? Like it is meant to sort of offer that experience,
It's in the
encapsulate
name.
all of that. Yeah.
Maybe up in Vegas, over there in Edina. But Arezzo, an Italian place there that had been there for years and years and years, didn't make it. Maybe that was fatigue. I guess I'm seeing, and I'm really happy that places in certain areas are flourishing. Fuck, get better on them. But it does kind of evoke the response that I have to have people back downtown. I don't care. I don't know why. I don't care. And I know, and I've told my people that we have to be the only beacon, to bring them down here. I can't rely on the Saints or the train like people promised. Train's going to bring so many people to the downtown area. Bullshit.
No.
People aren't riding the train.
No.
They don't feel safe on the train. Okay, listen, they don't feel safe on the train. I don't think you would if you rode the train. But you have to ride the train sometimes.
I'll take the train to the airport if I don't want to park.
So if that's not working and people aren't safe and the train's underpopulated, and we've seen, we had. I like the changes in the diversity of what we've seen in Lower Town here. I mean, I really like the changes, but the people that have moved here now, they're not necessarily the guests that I had when I opened down here either. And I can't just change my concept to fit the new guests, the new inhabitants. You know, we were down here because it was a place that showed a ton of potential, and there was people that had, you know, money in the banks, and, you know, a couple of years just changed things. So now I see downtowns and I see my own restaurant and my concept, and I'm like, well, how much should I change?
Can I tug on that thread a little bit? Like,
Yeah.
if you feel like the neighborhood surrounding the restaurant has changed over the years, because how long have you been here?
8 years.
8 years. Okay. If you think that has changed, is it more important for you to double down and say, no, I need to stay the same and be, you know, like who Saint Dinette was?
Absolutely.
Instead
as hard
of,
as ever.
Instead of like either adapting or changing with kind of the times and like.
I mean, I think we have, but our prices are higher because we've adapted to the times, right?
Sure.
You know, Dinette's always been a little bit of a different spot because we've always wanted to put sexy things on a plate and have it not be about pretense, have it be a cafe. But people think of us as fancy, but most of them come for burgers. And so we've always been dancing on that line. I think if you cater everything to the guest, then you've lost yourself.
Yes, I agree.
And so I believe wholeheartedly, and we have doubled down and tried to triple and quadruple down on just giving people, we know what they want. We give them that. We highlight a big dirty ass sandwich. And when we get them in here for that reason or whatever other reason, then we're going to try to knock them over with something else. We're going to be really nice about it. You know, but I think I also think as a population, we may feel like it's better to fit in than to be distinctive and different. Distinctive and different begs comment, you know, and I think a lot of folks in town don't really want to be distinctively different. They just want to have what people want, because I think there's a lot of safety in that for restaurants, you know?
Yeah, I mean, like from like a guest perspective, you know, like there are like for me, there's two sort of types of restaurants in my book. One that they're great because they are just through and through classic, the same. What I had 10 years ago tastes the same as now.
It meets your nostalgia and your expectations.
Yeah,
currently.
there's a certain level of quality that is always met, and you know they exceed, or they usually meet that or exceed that, and they're consistent. Consistency is something that is sometimes sought after, right? Like we're all nostalgic, we're all human, we all have memories. You know, if there is a specific experience that I'm trying to recapture, you know, a consistent restaurant, and there's places like that in town that, you know, I consider to be like that. And I think that they're great like that, or they're great because of that. And then I think there's the other restaurants who are trying to push, right? Like change the, like, you know, change the narrative, or, you know, add their voice to whatever is happening. Oh, like, you know, meatball sandwiches are in right now. Like, I'll show you a fucking meatball sandwich, and like, you know, like just like stuff like that. So like there's that sort of greatness.
How do they show you the meatball sandwich? On Instagram?
I don't know.
Is there any surprise left when you get to a restaurant, or do you know what you're going to get when you get there?
Ooh.
Because I really think, you know, like there used to be, you go to a place, you'd have no visual.
Yeah.
You know, you'd have the word of somebody, and you walk in and you're wondering what it's going to look like.
Yeah.
Now all the time, you get to see everything that you want to eat and decide before you fucking go.
That is true.
Oh, I saw this one. This looks better than this one. I'm going to go over here. Okay.
Well, it's Instagram worthy.
Well, that's what I'm saying. We're doing shit so that it looks good on Instagram. And I'm, you know, but I am too. Like, that's the only way we can shout out. Where the fuck else do we advertise?
You're competing for attention. And
Yeah,
it's hard. You know, it's hard to compete for attention when there's.
But I
Guys,
think that only moves the needle so much.
It's completely effective. But social media is the only way. Like, if you put it to me, to get a new guest, that attraction is, and that daily activity that you're staying in somebody's brain, like kind of like that repetitive nature. It's one of the only ways that we get to people.
Yeah.
I think it's like super important, and I hate it. I hate it.
Yeah.
The concept, or the the time that you spend doing that instead of doing the restaurant.
Yes, I mean, we didn't have to necessarily market for ourselves before. Yes, please help yourself to coffee. Will you just bring the pot over? Would you serve some coffee to me, please?
I would love to. You like cream? Sugar?
No. Black is nice. Thank you so much. I'll lift this up for you. Don't twist it.
Oh, no?
No, then it will come off.
It'll come right up. So all the way tight,
And then the spout will be open.
and then just go ahead and pour. Yeah.
Because it's not one with a thumb press.
Dude. Hope you got that on camera.
Oh yeah, bro.
Matt has everything.
Sweet.
Holy shit! We haven't talked about anything.
I will
Yes or no QR codes?
fill it up, please.
Yes,
and thank
sir.
you.
Yes or no QR codes?
If I have to choose, then yes. Because
Thank you.
if I can only use one example, and I think it's helped them stay alive and modulate what they've were doing and to be able to do it now, Zenbox. There's another place. Is that downtown? I mean, it's up on Washington.
Yeah, I call that downtown.
Because it's far.
that
It's
downtown.
out of
It's not the
it's
loop.
out of loop.
Yeah.
Because they can have more people that are making the food instead of constantly being at your table. You still feel a level of service because your food comes out fast. And you can sit there and you can still, peruse and do that. And you're not under pressure from an overtaxed server who, they've got that many more tables and it's, they're doing a balancing act there that for that concept works. If
And the quality's so good.
yes,
They can bang it out, and it's
yes,
really
and then now their new
crossing,
spot.
yeah.
Oh
Yeah,
my gosh,
yeah,
that's
yeah.
so fun. I
I
love
haven't
being
been.
able-
I gotta go.
Go,
I'm dying,
go.
I'm dying.
It's
Eat Street Crossing, right?
Eat Street Crossing.
And
I had a
it's-
really wonderful ramen there.
Yay!
Yeah, me
It's
too.
really
Fucking
good.
A.
I had
really
a
good.
really
Shout out.
wonderful everything.
Yeah.
My wife and I have gone 3 times, and we've now gone through all
of the places?
and had a smattering of all the stuff, and it's
Is this
fun.
what you guests want now? Eatertainment? You want a food
Sometimes.
hall, bro?
Sometimes, because I can get a bunch of
Variety,
different stuff. Now, that's not to say, because I'll try to loop a little bow on a bit of this conversation. A place that I've been frequenting a lot that nails service and food, and then even the whole thing of, like you talked about, like, for instance, also multiple ways. The dinette burger, being something that maybe you could make, and also
I can't make a dine-out burger.
No, you can't?
I cannot make a dine-out
no,
I can't.
it's and they have this place has a burger, and it's delicious, and I love it, but I rarely order it. Petit Lion, because I want to taste what those folks in the kitchen, those chefs, are doing, and they've got a great burger that's been there since day one, and it's delicious. And if I just drop in and I'm going to have a beer, I'll have a burger and I'll have the fries and I'll have that classic burger, beer, fries combo. But if I'm going there to eat, it's like and even though they have an active social media presence, they change things up enough, and then they have specials, and they've got the piece of butcher paper on the wall that has the oysters of the night, the special of the night, stuff going on. So I don't fully know what I'm going to get, and that's exciting too, because
Have you been there?
Yes.
It's fucking good.
Petite is great. Petite is great.
Okay. So here's a place to me that should be busy every night, and probably is. That food comes from a place. It is completely identifiable as Jorge and the others. You know,
Yeah, but
he certainly lets them create.
He
but
really has it.
It comes from a place.
It comes from, yes, and it comes from those people.
Mm-hmm.
And
They seem
so
like
then
a
it's
great team.
it's places
Mm-hmm.
because there's a diversity behind the bar and in the kitchen. So there may be a concept that they're riffing with,
an ode.
but
to
yeah,
something, yeah.
and it's interesting.
Yeah.
And
Go
I
to
don't
Petilion,
know.
That's
Oh,
for
yes.
sure.
Everyone,
there's a
whoever's
small
listening
neighborhood
to
joint
this.
that should be attended that has some aspirational aspects to it. That's a great one.
Very delicious.
Yeah. That's
Let me look at my notes. You guys like happy hour?
Guilty.
No.
I like happy hour. I like
Hard to
happy hour.
avoid. Hard to afford.
Yeah.
It's hard for a restaurant to afford
Yeah.
a happy hour. And why do they do it? You're trying to get some bodies in before dinner. You're trying to fill up an hour of time, usually at a rebated price, but it only works if people stay and buy. And eventually, you really need them to come in for dinner anyway.
Yeah.
So you're just kind of giving things away. But who doesn't love a good happy hour?
It's
Hard to justify anymore.
I don't really want that overall. No, because and this is the detriment of knowing the behind the scenes, the sausage being made under the hood.
Sure.
You know, I can turn my own wrenches, as it were.
Mm-hmm.
I see the moves that are being made, and some of them are very artful and skillful, but it's within a certain constraint because everything on the happy hour menu is 12 or under, 10 or under, 8 or under. It's like, no, I want to see when you are just, yes, you've got to make your food cost. Yes, you've got to make it work. But okay, what do you actually want to make? That's what I want to eat. I don't want to.
Estelle does it, I think, the right way. They have little bar snacks, little pinchos.
That's
and I
cool.
think,
But that's different. That's
I think so too. But you know, you're a professional diner, and you know, like I think you're a professional diner too. I just think that, you know, something on rebate is really, really hard to do. But bringing us, I think restaurants even doing specials or something in addition to their regular menu is harder, and you see it less. And I think menus are shrinking, right?
Yes.
I like smaller menus.
I do too.
I like smaller menus.
If you are handed a menu and it's a book and it's like hard surfaces on the outside and then you're flipping pages,
Right.
unless the print is big and there's lots of spacing and there's graphics and stuff, it would be an ultimate rarity that a place can do all of those things well.
Cheesecake Factory is the only example of somebody doing it really well.
On God.
Olive Garden, I think people really love it. Have you seen the prices at Olive Garden?
No.
They have, like, their pasta bowls are 22, 23, 24, 25 bucks.
Wow.
Hey.
Oh, yeah. Unlimited shrimp, $30. You know, like, it's not cheap. It's not cheap.
No.
But it's a perception of value.
Yeah, sure it is. Sure it is. And nothing's wrong with Olive Garden, dude.
No, absolutely not.
But do you think the tastes of Minnesota are dying to be met with new and different distinctive things, or do you believe that people just kind of prefer what's safe here?
To go by this gentleman's dichotomy of the types of restaurants, I think it has to be a balance of the two. You've got to have your dependable places, your mom and pop, your diners, even a steakhouse. You know, so in the different strata of cost for dining out, that have to be consistent. That you have to, you go there, you know.
It's an expectation. You know what you're going to get.
Single digit age, and last year had steak at Murray's. it's the same. And that's part of its appeal. There's, to loop it back to another steakhouse, PS Steak. They have consistency, but they're more playful. They'll change their bar program. They're doing kind of Japanese riffs right now. And, you see the stamp of each chef that has gone through those kitchen doors on the menu. It changes, and they're a little more fleet of foot, a little more contemporary. And you need that too.
I agree. How about you? What do you think?
If we need like more like inventive type restaurants.
Yeah, I mean, do you think the populace is really wanting that new and very distinctive, or do you think that the populace doesn't necessarily want that here? They want things that are more recognizable.
I think Minneapolis and the Twin Cities just in general, we sort of get this I don't know if it's stigma, but like we're in the Midwest, like we
the flyover state argument
there's all of that,
baloney.
but I think what I've found from just my personal experience of living here for 20 some years and meeting people outside and whatever, but like Minnesotans are pretty well traveled. A lot of them choose to just come back and live here, right? Like some people leave, go to the coasts or whatever, live there, and then they're like, I want to start a family, I want to come back to Minnesota, or I have some family. Yeah, there's consistency and stability and like other things that maybe in your 20s aren't for you, but later on in life, those are things that you value a little bit more and you want to introduce those things or incorporate them into your family life. Then it's a great place. It's a great place to raise a family and have all of that. And so
but do we want something awesome? Are we really, really wanting awesome here?
Okay.
Because you're telling me, because
Yes.
your answer is kind of like, we go somewhere, we see things, and I know this about Minnesotans. We go there, we see the world, we do travel well, we do go out and see stuff, but when we come back, we don't bring any of that verve. Christina at Hi,
Yep.
and Ola Repa, I mean, they have that big city verve. They're able to get that going. I'm just, I'm struggling to like figure out what Minnesotans really, really want. And I don't think it's necessarily experimental, or I think it's a more common, safe menu again right now. I think we were building more excitement and people could do whatever they fucking wanted. And I think now we're just kind of like, trying, maybe it's the creative side of the restaurants. We're just trying to like, huddle in a little bit. But I just don't feel like Petit Leon, there's not too many examples of places like that. Small places where chefs are actually kicking it and like rolling it out in a big way and being really big and like competitive with other cities with how good they are. And I don't know that we search that out. I think we go to the distilleries. I think we go to the breweries with the food truck, and I think we're much more apt to do that here than we would go and try something that is different.
Yes.
Some folks. I'm
But if
I'm
you
not
do
a good
something
example
different, you
of
need
that.
all of them to come.
I agree.
You need a mentality that, we all got to go to this. But the city, it's dropped percent in population. I mean,
Well, I think if that is created, there will be people who come. There will be people who seek that out and, are yearning for that. Like, and I mean, I think this is a great sort of example of this. But I, along with my partner in this, Rob McNeil, we flew in a bartender from Japan last like a month ago, and we did a pop up at Kado no Mise and a pop up at Skalvin. And, that was one of those things where, I knew confidently that like nobody else was doing anything like this. You would not be able to find, an experience like this. And if you really wanted to, you'd have to get on a plane for 14 hours and and go to his bar. But for, a couple of nights, we were going to bring his bar here. And, not really having any firsthand service industry experience, between the two of us ourselves, but, understanding the guest perspective of things that are here, things that are available, stuff that we can do, and what's not here. What are some things that I would want to do, on a weekend, like what sounds cool to me. And it's like, oh, a bartender pop up, guys from Japan, I'll check that out, So that was kind of how we got to that point. But like to then duplicate that, like try and do something like that with a similar impact throughout the year. It's like, you can't do that every weekend, because then it's not cool anymore. It's not special, So
Oof.
how
many seats in that bartender's bar?
His bar, 12. And he's the, the bouncer, the bartender, the owner, the DJ, bar back. He's doing everything.
Do you think this is Tokyo?
This is in Kyoto.
Kyoto.
Yeah.
Do you think artisanship is more respected in Kyoto?
Yes. Well, that's a lot more common of a like format.
Even a just business model.
Yeah, I mean, like you go down alleys and there's dozens and dozens of bars that are just like that, where it's one man show. You go to your bar, and
that's a dream. That to me is a dream, and I can't imagine that it would be easy. But to do something that small and also have the density of a neighborhood that would visit you like that. And, but they still don't have 20 seats because they don't compromise on their product. You don't have to compromise on your product.
No, but we busted his ass, and we made like a lot of drinks on those nights. he made a lot of drinks.
Yeah. From a volume standpoint.
Yeah.
That's the only thing right now that I think, restaurants are just dying for volume. It's, how much more expensive are things in your world?
Everything.
Inflation is, in my adulthood, I have not experienced rapid inflation as we have been experiencing.
No.
And then the interesting, like a microcosm of a byproduct that was hopeful and encouraging for a moment was I was at Kowalski's doing some of my grocery shopping. It's one of, I like visiting a bunch of different grocery stores to get the different things.
Yeah, you're right. It's like, I'm into that. Guys, let's hang out on Saturday. Go shopping.
I do that all the time.
And I needed some eggs. And there was the, national brand, you have no idea where it's from, eggs. And they were 4 times as expensive as the organic Larry Schultz eggs from Minnesota. And I was like, okay. I would have probably purchased the local eggs anyways.
It's $2 an egg right now or whatever. It's like expensive.
Yeah.
It's not $2 an egg, but it's a lot of money.
That might be a little hyperbolic, but it's crazy when that has been, like in struggle times, you can buy eggs, and that's sustenance, and that's pretty good, complete sustenance, and you can, with just a little bit of not much, you can change it.
We don't buy them as much, and we just don't buy eggs as much. It's just
because
weird how your habits change, right?
Sure.
And I have to shop at 3 different stores now. It's like one for proteins because I value what they do from a protein standpoint.
Yep.
There's one for the cheapest, freshest angle at organic or close to high quality produce. And then there's another one for seafood, like it's, and then, your prices are up and down, but, for the bulk of your shopping, are you even going into the store now, or are you getting online deliveries or?
Oh, I don't like that. I
love
seeing
the
stuff.
tactile. Yeah, you guys are nerds kind of with that. But see, this is also part of the DIY thing where you're like, or a cultural thing. And my family's like, we always go to the store. We went to the store as a family.
Yes.
When I was a kid, I was always at Acme with my mom. It's just how it is.
I mean, I still walk basically up and down every aisle at Costco.
Well, it's
Me too. But the thing is a wonderland. That is my Disney.
Basically.
I it's a love-hate thing, because then I look at, my watch or a clock or something and go, oh, I've been in here way too long. But even if I'm just going, unless it's just an in and out, I need this thing, and I'm going and I'm buying that, and then I'm leaving. I like walking the grocery aisles. Mm-hmm. It's like, what do they have? What's new? Oh, and I admit it also bleeds over into my professional life as well, in the idea of like, oh, they've got this ingredient. I wonder if one of my purveyors has this ingredient. Can I get it in bulk? Could I get it in bulk and then use it on my menu? Could I get it in bulk and then set up my own wholesale account and buy it for myself? And would that be cheaper?
You see less sampling at grocery stores now too, right? But not too many people. Like they're starting back up.
It's starting back up, but it's not the same, and it's not as much of the manned stations of you can go and there's someone that's like cooking up sausage patties, and you get a little bacon, egg, and cheese sandwich or bacon, egg, and
I've been the sample guy for my own business, and I really don't want to do it anymore. And it's not that it's just really hard to stand there and make, smile and have people walk by you and not even say hi or whatever. And also, like taste your food and then buy the pizza next to yours, like
it's too much.
What environment have you been doing this in?
Oh, I've been, for the first 2 years of Moochie's Frozen Foods, I was in Kowalski's, Lund's. I did Festival
local,
Foods.
yeah.
I was standing there in Hy-Vee down in Cottage Grove. Schlep. Hey, how you doing? Yeah.
That's were you spinning the pizza sign?
Hey, try some pizza.
Did you have any good experiences?
Oh yeah, they were all good. I made them good. They were all good experiences.
You're
like
a contradiction.
I made them good. Like I did it. Like this. I can talk to anybody in any way, and make it work. I really believe that. And so that was good for me. I want to talk about tips. Do you love tipping? Do you love tipping your server?
Yes.
Do you know where that money goes?
Not entirely.
You can't ever fully know.
Okay. Do you like admin fees?
Okay.
So you like tipping. You both agree.
I like tipping insofar as, like I have my baseline unless something horribly goes awry. And it's a way beyond words of saying thank you.
Gratitude.
And there is a certain amount of like my words, like if I've, had the same server a few times, that I hope they get a sense that my words are genuine. But that is only so much.
Yeah.
So an imperfect system, absolutely. Would I love to see an environment there? I've been to a few places, and I'm blanking on names, where on the receipt there was a server tip line and there was a kitchen tip line. Oh, that made my heart swell, because I got to, instead of like, if I have the opportunity, I love when I've had a great experience, if I can pop my head in the kitchen and not be intrusive, or if I can be near a pass and say, thank you so much. This was amazing.
Yeah.
Like you guys, service was great, but you guys put everything on the plates. Yeah. And yes, the server brought it in time, so I got stuff that was hot, and it was supposed to be hot, and it was hot. Supposed to be cold, and it was cold. But those people in the kitchen are often banging it out and doing great work, and they are part of the service equation, and that's not recognized. So I'll
How about you, Roy? Do you like tipping?
I do. I like to tip for the most part. There are times when I am conflicted.
Why? You don't have to be conflicted about a tip. It's your money.
Yeah.
What's
the conflict?
It's the prompt, right? It's the prompt. anytime you are like the example that I'm thinking about is I was at a coffee shop in Portland, and I like to bring back coffee when I'm out there. My folks live out there, so I'm out there pretty often, and I'll bring back some coffee. And the last time I was there, I bought like 2 or 3 bags of coffee, and they usually, some places will give you like a free trip if you buy a bag or whatever. So like I bought some coffee, I got some coffee to drink, and then I go to pay, and I like wasn't really thinking, and I tipped 20% on like, I don't know, like 3 or 4 bags of coffee that I bought, and like 1 drip coffee. And so by the time I like actually paid, and like I like looked at the receipt, and I was like, oh, I think I tipped like $15.
Sure.
And I got 1 cup of coffee, and I bought more like bags of coffee. The dollar amount and the percentage amount matched up, but I was like, I don't feel great about having just paid you, an extra $20 on top of, like just buying this coffee.
Sure.
Like and that wasn't like on them or whatever. It was just like this moment where I am kind of programmed to, just like go through the prompts and, whatever, and I'll pay. But then after I thought about it, I was like, oh, I guess like this was one of the situations where like maybe tipping wasn't absolutely necessary. And to go a step beyond that, I was just like, oh, now I kind of feel like shitty about it. Like, it's like, gave me $20 for no reason.
Or I'll challenge you on this insofar as this.
Yes, please.
Did the $15 or $20 make a real difference in your life?
No.
Then I would say, let it go.
Yeah.
Because I'll give you props in this way. There is a distinct possibility you made someone's day.
Yes.
For a 20. That's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like you could, if you handed me $20 right now, it wouldn't make my day.
No. You're saying he felt like you had to, though. Right? Like you felt like
here,
you were prompted.
This is where
the word was prompted.
where I will challenge that as well. And this is this. You got to pay attention.
Yeah.
There is a responsibility.
Okay, but see, this is part of the confusion that guests are undergoing. Like, should I tip? Should I not tip?
The only thing that I don't like is the handhelds where the server hands you the handheld, or like they've still got their hand
and they can see everything,
and you're trying to do math in your head, and you got 5 seconds. And you're just trying to scan the receipt. Like, is there already a service fee? Am I tipping on top of a service fee? And does that change things? Yes. If I don't know where that service fee is going.
What's it to you? You don't know where the tip is going.
But I have a greater idea overall from peeking behind the curtain. The tip primarily is going in that server's pocket.
Sure. So they also get 12 an hour, or whatever. And, like plus the tip. I mean, these are some things just on like a restaurant side. Like, the minimum wage has gone up in St. Paul and Minneapolis dramatically too. It wasn't 6 or 7 years ago that we were like, $8 or $9 an hour. And now we're at 12 on the way to 15.
Yeah, the lack of tip credit.
With the lack of tip credit. So now it's forcing me into, I'm considering just adding administrative fees of numerous different percentages. And part of it is like, people say, oh, just add it into your prices. Well, I'm like, well, fuck, like people see our prices online before they get in here, and they're gonna be like, what? How are they even charging that? Like real costs for restaurants, and what we know the public hasn't gotten a real big raise either. They're spending less money. We need to attract them down here. Me raising my prices, me doing all those things. Sure, I need it for austerity's sake, but I really have to be very careful that I don't send the wrong perception out.
I would say one of the things that I do think is a good way to maybe sever that a little bit. Don't publish your prices online.
Yeah, because but that's fine.
Because then you're updating
and
a bunch of different places.
20% charge on your bill that doesn't appear on that menu, where your menu prices aren't or are, and then all of a sudden you feel like you roll in with no expectation of what you're going to spend, a little worried about it, and then we get you. That's kind of how I feel like people would feel like that, instead of like bearing it all out and like letting people know. When there are admin fees on your check, you want to know where they're going. You want to know the split.
It's not. I don't overall like them. I'd rather spend the money on the menu items because I do have a budget. I'm not completely devoid of ideas of economics.
Yeah.
I'm not that well off.
Yeah.
So
Most
I
of
make
us, they're
certain
there.
decisions when I'm choosing my food based on like, okay, I have this amount of money to spend. If there's been no real talk or transparency about a 22% service fee, and then I get my bill and it's nearly a quarter higher than I expected, that doesn't feel great.
Yeah. I mean, I totally get it.
But I understand at the same time where the boat that restaurants are in.
So, from a profitability standpoint, restaurants, let's say, work with a typical window of about 10% being like a really nice, like something that was like a standard, 10 to 15%, and most of our industry is unheard of. 20% in our industry, I don't know anybody who's making 20%. I'm sure somebody is, but it's with a volume restaurant.
Volume and markup on alcohol.
And or a food concept where the food costs are so low, and the value seems high, but you're making money on it.
Historically,
I don't know.
brunch.
Yeah, and I don't know where I don't love admin fees either. But if the profit margin is 10% or was when things were good, and you're looking at a 2, 3, 4% profit margin normally, or you're looking to break even 6 out of the 12 months and make money 6 out of the 12 months, 3%, 2%, or whatever, going to the restaurant bottom line is really fucking important. We pay 3% for credit card fees, so you all can have the convenience of making rewards on your credit cards. We pay that. It's 3% of things that could come back to me in profit. But that's for you. You should be paying that. The guest should be paying that 3%. It shouldn't be on the business to do it. And so
I'll agree there.
And so there's just a lot of things where these 1 and 2 percentage point decisions that we make are huge, because in some cases it doubles our profitability. If the restaurant makes such a thin margin, but we're so concerned about the employees that the restaurant model doesn't work anymore, like we need restaurants to not eat themselves up. There's another thing, just in terms of vitality in our cities. Austerity has made us make compromises, and mostly it affects the guests in terms of hours that we operate. If a place closes at 9, do you feel bad going in at 8:45?
I won't do that.
Why wouldn't you do that? We're open till fucking 9 o'clock. I need you there, man.
I would maybe get takeout, but my perception as well is about the person that's been there at 8:45. They've already been there for 7.5 hours. I'm not going to make them wait on me till 10 o'clock so I can have dinner.
My business is open until 9. If you don't come in after 8:30, I'm fucked. I don't want to open until 10 so you come in at 9. But I also, the austerity of that last hour of business cuts off an hour of vitality of our city.
Sure.
It just
Yeah.
puts us right back down into this boring little scenario where everybody's kind of pocketed, they're in a hole and they're trying to fucking protect themselves, but the vitality goes away. And then people start, you're a lovely man for not coming in at 8:45. The restaurant's open till 9. I need you till 9. I need every guest to know that. And you
Then
know
there
what?
should be
If
more
you're coming
talk about
late,
that.
if you're coming late, give us a fucking call. Guess what? It's okay. Call
Yes.
us on the phone
Okay.
and be like,
There.
dude, we got to eat. And it's 10 of. We can be there in 4 minutes. I'm like, we're open. Thank you so much for the call.
There's a middle ground.
I never
that
thought
I'm
of it
more
like that.
comfortable
Oh, you got to think of it like that because
Yeah.
I can't have you stop coming in and
Yeah.
and eating. So then I might as well, like if I close at 9, essentially I'm closed at 8:30 if you have a conscience. But I'm staying open till 9. I'm seating till 9. I need
there-
you to
okay.
see. I'm seating,
There.
Seating
till
till
9.
9.
That-
Let us know that you're coming, but we're seating
Language
till
matters.
9.
That
It really
does matter.
does.
Yeah.
So then it's two things in my mind. It's I was 90% on board with you. And then the last 10% was when you said seating until 9. Because that's not close.
Yeah.
That's seating until.
But everybody
that-
here is closing at 9 in their brain. They close at 9. They close at 9. Closes soon. A restaurant is open until the guest leaves. It's open. It should be open until 9. Yes, we close early sometimes. It's a dead night or whatever. Nobody called in. I don't think we've missed anybody. I've had some people come in, even just this last week, and they're like, "Oh, dude, we'll get takeout." I'm like, "No."
Sit down.
And they're like, "What?" I'm like, "Where are you going? Where are you going? This is a restaurant. Sit down. You have to let me serve you." And I have to tell you right now, if you don't go to places, at the end of, they're closing at 9 and you don't go there at 8:30, like the restaurants are losing out on this. They're losing. And the vitality we're eating ourselves, fam. We have to be very careful. Word to the owners.
Okay.
Word to the vibe, man.
Then it has to be a change in conversation insofar as there has to be less posturing
by who?
on the part of restaurateurs, this like fake buoyancy about their own success and a little humbling of we need you.
Yes.
Do you want us here? Then we need you.
Yes.
So cool. Have an hours that are, like if it starts at 4, it's 4 till close. And you can even somewhere down and maybe smaller font, you can say that means about 10 o'clock. Or the seating until 9, seating until 10. I have no problem with going into a restaurant half an hour, 15 minutes before the seating cutoff, because then I don't feel like I'm putting people out in service of my own enjoyment.
Yeah, but that's what the restaurant is. It's the service of your enjoyment. And we are selfless, because if we are not selfless in some way or humble, then you won't be able to actually be served, right?
Sure.
It's really not about me. It's about what I know when I walk up to you at the table and how I'm able to adapt to you. What I know, adapting to you.
Then I also need a different mentality when I go into restaurants.
Well, not everybody in my restaurant is going to be able to give you that, but I think overall that's kind of, the intent. And I fed my friends last week and I made them stay. And I just don't want to be eating my own vitality. I want to be part of the whatever. And I just came up with an idea, it's kind of like, okay, St. Paul, 4 restaurants call me and let's do a rotating late night together. All right, let's
Cool.
do a rotating
Please,
late
please.
night where it doesn't have to be the onus on one restaurant to be open every night until 10. We can switch it up a little
That's
bit.
cool.
There's a little bit of miracle on 34th Street about that. They're like, oh, go over to Gimbals. They've got this.
Well, we should be doing that for our fucking people. This is where we go here. This is where we go here. You know what? Spot bar's open tonight, late, always, Chips. They're going to be open till midnight tonight, Wednesday only. And we're going to go fucking party there for a couple hours because we never get to do it.
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Okay.
I'm down for that.
And actually, like on that note too, I love the like late night only menus and like
Special shit.
special shit. Yeah, like Bungalow does
Burger night.
burger night on
Trap
Wednesdays,
night.
trap night on
They're
Sundays.
fucking cool.
I
That
fucking
place
love
is
that.
so much
no,
fun.
It is. It's
Fucking
really, really
love that.
Andrew's doing well.
They
Yes,
force you
Caesar
into
shrimp,
an
but-
experience with their prefix, which I also like. They're saying you have to eat this way. This is how we want you to have it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
And it's
That's great.
It's one restaurant, but it's multiple restaurants depending on the night.
Yeah.
And then there's certain constant things. There's like the accompaniments
Oh, yeah.
that are there every night. So you can still get the smorgasbord, which is one
That
of the
damn
best
board.
values in
That
town.
damn
Oh
board.
Oh my
He's gonna have to raise the
Gosh.
price on that motherfucker, man.
That
I'm
damn
telling you.
board.
if it helps him and it helps him stay in business, raise it.
Oh, it's so good.
It's just so delicious.
You'd pay more for it.
Yes.
It is worth more.
tell him.
It is worth more.
Oh, I will tell him
Yeah, yeah.
because I want him there.
I've had people tell me, man, you need to raise your fucking prices. I'm like, oh.
Tim, you do.
Yeah, I know, and I have discreetly, but I have raised my prices. But there's still a value. There's still a value that I know that people are looking for too. It's a tightrope. I had inflation on my list. I had work from home on my list. Different competition on my list. Wage increases on my list. I had labor shortage, sick time, living wages, impact of breweries and distilleries, the desired outcomes of your employees and their success, vitality, lack of training, delivery options, menu prices that have gone up 40% or gone up a percentage higher than in the last time of 40 years. And still through these things, when a guest walks through the door, they have to be the most important thing, because without them, with me, when the lights go on, I have to ignore all of this.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's harder for people to ignore all of this when the lights go on. And I think that's why in some cases service is suffering, because we're all kind of been huddled. Like, y'all are staying at your homes a little more. We're all kind of like tentatively walking through this, minefield of shit that's happened to the industry. But you have to still give it up to the folks that come to you, man. And you have to have that vitality and that idea that they have a sense of something when they walk in. At Moochie's, it might feel like trust or love or just a sense that everybody's saying hi and we're so kind. But if you don't find that anywhere or somewhere anymore, you're missing out. And I really think the essence of service has to be a profound touch point for restaurateurs right now. And, I know that there's so many things that are distracting from that, but I think in terms of your execution and the way that you're doing your concept, the way that you're putting it out there for people, if they cannot connect to your service right now, man, it's going to be a hard time to build a relationship. And if you're not building relationships right now and the lack of business, it's, around in certain places, this is a long-term relationship. I'm dating you and I want you to come back over and over and over.
Mm-hmm.
I hope I can get people to do it. I really want to thank you for being here. And while I have so many things that I think that I really could, continue this discussion on, thanks for your perspectives. Thanks for sharing the table here with me on Neverland. I really want to surmise by saying that, restaurants are still growing through it and we're still finding our way. Most of this is never intended to reach the guest. We hide it so that you don't have to feel, what's going on. But still, it's our job to serve you. So if you're not getting the respect you deserve some places, just hopefully you keep going and bear with them for a little bit. Roy, thanks a lot for joining, and bringing your guest perspective to this thing, and also, being cool about it. And I love maybe that I presented to you something that you had to think about in a different way as a guest, but also, I'm hearing what you want and what you think is exciting now, and I appreciate it.
Well, yeah, and that's a two-way street, right? Like, I think it's important for that conversation to keep happening, and just more understanding from a guest perspective, from a restaurateur's perspective of how to better serve one another. And if we have that conversation ongoing, then hopefully the experience of everything improves and we are able to pull ourselves out of this shit. But that's impossible unless there's conversations happening. So
Yeah, communication, compromise, and compassion.
so thanks for creating the space.
Oh yeah, man, totally appreciate it. Jacob, I'd like to thank you for your support of so many local restaurants and your kind ways of saying things. Your appropriate, the way you communicate with a restaurant and show your love for them. I think that, it's not everybody that can do that or find the romance in our business right now, but you help me find the romance in our business because you're able to describe it so well and the experiences and things that you have and kind of how it feels to you. And I really thank you a lot for putting that out there. I find these dining experiences to be more emotional than you might imagine. It's important to me, and your emotional output on this is I think important to me. It is important to me. So thanks for that, Jacob.
Thank you.
Really good to have you here.
It's a pleasure.
Yeah.
It's my little summation will be this. My wife is a therapist, and one of the things that she does, and I find this mirrored in the service industry, both as a customer and as a worker, is you got to meet people where they are. And if you can do that, if people can do that, there will be far better experiences.
Yeah.
Whether that's restaurants, whether that's a business, whether that's just two people passing on the street, leading with some kindness goes a long way.
Come to the middle. Get everybody in a good soft spot where we can enjoy each other again.
This has been enjoyable.
Yeah, you're enjoyable. Jacob, thank you.
Thanks.
Roy, thank you.
Thank
Roy,
you.
it was a pleasure to meet you.
Nice to meet you too, Jacob.
Let's all go out.
Grocery
Let's
shopping.
do it.
Right?
Grocery shop. All right, much love, fam. Thank you for joining us. Niverland. I don't know what episode, I don't know what season. I'll have Matt figure that out for us. I love you guys. Appreciate you so much for your time. Appreciate your input.
Peace.
Thanks for joining
Thank
us in Niverland.